thought those were angels.
They gushed out from between the fingers, this liquid just started to bubble out and started to fall down.
I took a picture of what I believed to be Jesus.
And all of a sudden, this total, all-encompassing warmth came over me.
And I saw 2 occasions where the rosary bead turned to gold. I saw it right in front of me.
Is it possible that miracles like this really do happen? My guests today say yes, they do. Father Philip Kufo says that a Christmas miracle occurred in his church, which not only changed his life, but the lives of thousands of others. He says that on the feast of St. Nicholas, this picture of the Virgin Mary wept, and that the people anointed with the liquid coming from the picture were miraculously cured of illness. And we'll meet others who say they've witnessed miraculous visions and experienced divine healing from incurable diseases. But my first guest claimed that they wouldn't be here today if it weren't for a Christmas miracle that happened to them about 16 years ago. They believe that, like, remember in the movie It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart? And there was that whole miraculous intervention. Well, they believe that just like in that 't they were rescued by an angel. This is Kathy and Phil Lindstrom. Welcome them, please. Hi, how you doing? Nice to see you. Let's just set the scene for everybody here. There was a terrible snowstorm, and you were in a car. You had been out at a party, and on the way home, you took a shortcut. You got stuck in a ditch, right? Okay, so pick up the story from there, Kathy.
It was desolate out. It was not your average New Year's Eve. There was nobody out. It was really, really cold. And as we were at the party, the temperature was dropping lower and lower. And by the time we left, it was like 76 degrees below zero. It was so cold that it hurt when you breathed in. And so instead of taking our normal road home, we took the shortcut. And luckily, we did pass a gas station because we remembered that. We were just about getting off the shortcut and onto the main road, and our truck got slipped and got stuck. And we thought that we were stuck in a ditch.
You were going to walk back to the gas station to try to get some help? Phil, is that the idea?
That's what I did.
Okay, leaving, Kathy, you waited in the car.
Yeah, I waited in.
All right, how long was he gone?
I would say he was gone about 15 minutes, at least 15 or 20 minutes. And he did leave it running so that I would be able to stay warm. But even, it was so cold, by the end of the evening, by the time we did get home, it took an hour for us to, I mean, our teeth were really chattering. We were close to hypothermia. It was dangerously cold.
But Phil, you didn't find anyone at the station or no one that would come out to help you because the weather was so bad.
Well, that's correct. As I was making phone calls for about 15 minutes, I couldn't find anyone. I looked out and I saw a fellow pull up in a tow truck, and he stopped, began to fuel his tow truck. He had no hat or gloves on, just he had an open coat. The windows were open on the truck. His girlfriend was in the front seat. She had a leather jacket on, and it was open also.
Now this, of course, immediately struck you as odd because it was like too cold to be out with mufflers, hats, the whole shebang, and there he is with the windows open and not showing any signs of feeling bad with this.
Didn't seem to bother him a bit. That was the thing that amazed me the most. He put the tow winch on there, and he started to pull us out. But the truck just went right up in the air. The front end just went up right up in the air and made a left, a right, just rolled and rocked and rolled like that, and she was nervous as could be. And she said, "It's going to fall over, we're going to fall over." And I said, "Don't worry about that. That's not important." But it was an important issue. He set the thing down and he got out and he said, "There's something wrong here. Something is drastically wrong." So he got back in his truck and he tried it again. The front end was rose way up in the air and rocked and rolled to the left and the right and whatever. He came back and he said, "Something is really wrong." And he looked underneath the truck and he found the rear end had been hooked on a curb. He said, we need some help. You're going to have to shake the rear end of this truck." And then he said, "Your wife can drive." He said, "And I'll pull you out." And I said, "I can't do that." I said, "I have a bad back, and I'm afraid I'm going to hurt myself."
That's when
Now,
we
as
saw
we
the
were
lights.
talking, there was 4 cars had pulled off the road on the left-hand side. And 4 fellas appeared just like the wind. And they said, "Can we help?"
See, now this is so amazing. You've been there, it's desolate, no one's out. All of a sudden, there are 4 sets of headlights that appear at the same time where you are.
Right there at the same time, yeah.
Okay, so this man then says what?
Well, these folks came up and he said, they said, "Can we be of help?" I got in the truck and these folks rocked the truck, and he pulled it out, and it was done. I don't
now-
ever know what happened to those people.
But you know who you think those people were.
Well,
Who do you think pulled you out of that ditch?
well, we thought those were angels, obviously. I would be certain that the fellow driving the tow truck was an angel. What does an angel look like? You tell me. You tell me about a man, if it's normal for a man to wear a coat open in 25 below zero weather with the windows rolled down, and it never fazed him. I just couldn't believe that. I think there was something super normal there, something different.
When Phil got back into the truck, he's not an overly religious person. We're just people, okay? And he was really convinced. He says, you know, he said, I remember him saying, those must have been angels helping us. He said, Kathy, I went out there to say thank you, and they were gone.
And they just like vanished?
They were gone. I mean, you know, so they came, all four, all at once. And then they were gone, all four, all at once. And, you know,
This is not your first experience, though, with an angel, is it, Phil?
No. You want that story?
What happened before?
The long and the short of it. The fella hit me at 45 miles an hour and knocked me over 4 lanes of highway. And I came down the other side, and I lived through the thing. And people would not know it today. I had a coma, and I had a broken arm and leg. I was in a Navy hospital for 9 months. But
So there was an angel that guided you through that experience.
I always felt that an angel had set me down nice and gentle and said, Philip, just slow down a little bit. I never did slow down, but he was that's what he said.
The angels are not giving up on you.
To get me through this thing today.
And see, they must be here because you did well. Didn't the audience? There you go. Nice story. Coming up next, a priest who witnessed a painting of the Virgin Mary weeping real tears. And later, a woman who claims that she took a photograph of Jesus just a few days before Christmas. We're going to get into the details of all these and more Christmas miracles on today's Liza. Don't go away.
The tears were first noticed 6 days ago on the feast of the church's patron, St. Nicholas. James Mukawa reports from Chicago.
The crowds have been coming by the thousands. People are showing up from morning till night. It is this icon of the Virgin Mary that is drawing so much attention at St. Nicholas Albanian Orthodox Church. Many are convinced the icon is crying.
There's tears there.
Very pretty.
Very pretty.
Martin and Wanda Melnick are Catholic. They say both faith and curiosity brought them here.
Felt good to come, to see something like that. Like it's like a miracle, because I've never seen one, and it's strange.
Like many others upon leaving the church, the Melnicks said it was a miracle. For Wanda, the experience was too touching to talk about.
I can't do it.
Oh, yeah.
Just special.
My next guest can't explain the miracle that took place in his church almost 8 years ago. He's a priest at St. Nicholas Church in Chicago. He was lighting candles before service. He saw something that shocked him so much, he fell to his knees. Please welcome Father Philip Kufos. Thank you for being here, Father. So this event that occurred must have been quite startling. What did you see?
I was lighting the hanging vigil lights in front of the icons, and I lit the right side of the icon screen. I was about to start on the left side, which was where the icon of the Blessed Virgin is today, and I noticed some wet on the icon, and I was very tired because we had started on the evening before, which we called the Esperino, or the Vesper service, in preparation for the feast day, which was that Sunday, the following day. And I saw wet, and I immediately turned around to the back of the church where there was some cleaning people there in the back, thinking they had, in mopping or so forth, had splashed the icon. This happened within a split second, and I looked again back at the icon, And somehow my eyes traveled up toward where the water was, seemed extensive, what appeared to be water. And then I saw the face of the Virgin Mary, and I'll never forget that. The eyes were pink, and that's where this liquid was coming from. Well, it seemed as if everything just tilted. That's all I can remember. The expression of my hat sank to my feet. I yelled out. I was frozen with fear.
Did you look behind it to see that maybe there was something leaking through the painting?
When we came closer to the icon, after I composed myself and got up, it wasn't enough that the tears were coming, but their hands of the Blessed Mother, as you can see on the photograph, is pointing towards her son. They gushed out from between the fingers. This liquid just started to bubble out and started to fall down.
Did you gather the liquid? Was it collected?
We were told to collect the liquid. We took large amounts of cotton that we got from the drugstore and just laid it in the bottom because it was coming down the icon onto the wood of the iconostasis, as we call it, and down onto the floor. It absorbed the liquid, and then we were told to anoint with it. And we anointed. And conservatively, we estimate at least 3 million people came to see the icon. They came from all over the world.
And what happened to people who were anointed with the liquid?
There were many healings. I saw some myself in front of me. I saw people with rheumatoid arthritis who were quite deformed. I saw them straighten up. I saw this on 2 occasions. I saw something that, now I'm Greek Orthodox, I'm not Roman Catholic, and many came with their rosary beads. Some people asked me to anoint the cross on the rosary bead, and I saw 2 occasions where the rosary bead turned to gold. I saw it right in front of me. I mean, now this is an Albanian Orthodox church under the jurisdiction of the Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople, the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese. And if someone told me that I was going to be anointing rosary beads in an Albanian Orthodox church, I would...
Audience, I want you to know that this went on for 7 months.
Non-stop.
The crying continued for 7
months. Day and night.
Father, if you would take questions from our audience when we come back. I know there are lots out here.
Yes.
And as we talk about miracles, you know, they of course can mean many things to many people. And later on, we're going to meet a woman who claims that she miraculously photographed what she believes is Jesus. Later in the show, we'll meet a man who was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease. Now, as you probably know, this is a fatal illness. It's degenerative, it's progressive. He says that his disease totally disappeared, and it happened right before the holidays. We'll hear his story and much more, so stay tuned. Do you believe in miracles? Well, my guests today certainly do. Phil and Kathy talked about the Christmas angel that saved their lives, and Father Philip says that countless miracles took place after a painting of the Virgin Mary wept in his church for 7 months. And I think that's what a lot of the questions out here are about. Yes? Shall we start here with you? Just stand, please.
Yeah, I was wondering why it was your church that happened. Did they come up with any, conclusion why it was your church and why it only lasts for 7 months?
That's a wonderful question. I've been asking God that for years. Why our church? I have no idea why our church.
And no idea why the length of time?
I have no idea why the length of time. I can guess. I know that the majority of our people in our church are Albanian, and there was a very repressive government in Albania. The church was non-existent for 40 years. All the priests and monks and nuns and bishops were killed or exiled. It was the only official atheistic state in the world existing, and maybe there was some connection there. And many had people suffering in Albania.
So fascinating.
Hi. I was just wondering, this sounds like a wonderful miracle syrup. And I was wondering if you did anything to have it medically collected, to have it examined and looked at by someone in the scientific field or medical end of it.
Yes, many did come, many scientists, many physicians did come, and of course, remember we anointed everyone with the liquid that came, and it could be analyzed by anyone.
I know you said that the media was all over this situation, and what were they reporting? That the substance was regular tap water? Was there some saline solution? What was it?
Well, what had happened was that a few scientists took it upon themselves, and a few individuals in my parish did have it analyzed. And one physician from Michael Reese Hospital in Chicago did take it and put it under electronic microscope, and he said amazing. He said it was multiplying itself molecularly, whatever that means. By the way, he received healing with his eyes while he watched it in the microscope.
What kind of healing? You mean like he
had an eye disease, and it had corrected itself the next morning when he woke up, and he was amazed. A Filipino doctor.
What about you? Did you experience any kind of healing personally?
Yes, I did. I have a twin brother that's also a priest. He's a married priest in Toronto. And we always used to go to gym and lift weights and did all that stuff when we were younger. And I injured my knees and had bad arthritis in my knees. If I stood more than a few hours, my legs would start swelling and I'd end up on crutches for a month. My parishioners had seen this happen to me, where they had to literally tear my pants off because the end of was so quick and my leg would swell. I couldn't stand for more than maybe 2.5, 3 hours at one time without getting into trouble. And I had this checked medically and so forth, and they said, you have very bad arthritis in both knees, Father. You injured your knees when you used to do squats and thought you were a real sharp guy when you were young, before you were a priest. And they noticed, because we were on our knees, rather on our legs for sometimes 12, 13 hours a day. And there was no swelling, and some of my friends said, Father, this was about 2 or 3 months later, because we were so busy, we didn't realize. They said, how's your leg? How are you standing? And I went and had my knees re-examined. There was no arthritis.
Oh.
So I thank Almighty God.
Your own miracle.
He needed me to do something. So.
Shannon, would you stand, please? This is Shannon Roberts. Now, Shannon claims that she has a Christmas miracle, as you do, that happened a few years ago. What happened?
Right. This was about 4 years ago. I took a picture. First of all, before I took the picture, I saw the image of the cross on my cupboard in Marina Del Rey, where I live. And the next day, about 3 days later, I took a picture of what I believe to be Jesus. I mean, it's just a feeling that I got anyway.
We are going to actually let everybody in our audience and you at home see what you feel, what feeling you get when you look at that picture. We'll see the one that you say you believe is Jesus. And yesterday, we sent Shannon out ourselves. We sent her to a cemetery to see if she could photograph any spirits, because I understand that that's something that's occurred with you before. We're going to see how those pictures turned out. And she will also share with us some of her photos of the ghost of Marilyn Monroe and some others. All right, so there's that. And also coming up, a man who prayed to be healed of Lou Gehrig's disease and was pronounced healed right before Christmas. A lot more to talk about, so stay close. We'll be right back. I think if you look for them, you can find little miracles that happen in every day. And miracles, of course, can happen at any time of the year. But today, we're talking about Christmas miracles. And before the break, we met Shannon Roberts, who says that she saw a cross on her kitchen cupboard. This was a few days before Christmas, about 4 years ago. Now, she thought it was a sign that she should go to a cemetery. And she took along her camera. And she believes that she took a picture of a Christ-like figure. So what I want to do before we talk about it is to show you all the picture that Shannon took. And Shannon, if you can kind of talk us through this as we see it come up on the monitor here. We're going to outline it for you, so as you see the photograph, you can see the image. There it is. Now let's put a highlight around it.
I think it looks better without the highlight.
So
you can see it better.
okay, now
Yeah.
there's a closer vision. Now explain it to us, Shannon.
You mean how I got the picture? Or
Well,
when I got the picture?
it was at
or
night?
what? Oh, no, a daytime.
A daytime
it was
photo.
At, yes, over at the Vets Memorial in Westwood. You see, I had been taking these pictures before. Pictures had been showing up in my film, and my family were so skeptical, and they said, you shouldn't mess with this. So I prayed for a sign. And that was why the next day the cross appeared on the cupboard, and a couple of days later, I went over to the Veterans Memorial, because, I just felt like going, and then I got this picture. And every other area in the cemetery was pouring down rain. That's what was kind of funny. And the one right next to the chapel area, the area there, it wasn't. So I stood there, and that's where I got the picture. And the picture's very important to me.
When you got the film developed and you saw that photo, did you say, okay, there's my sign?
That's my sign. Yeah, so I can continue my research into the other side that I had been doing for a year prior to that.
And that's why you have a lot of photos.
I have over 100. And at the time I was in the recording business, and so I kind of put that on hold to do this research, because I wanted to find out what happens, you know.
Can we see some of your other photos?
Yes.
That you brought along with you today? Okay, what's the next one is of...
I think the next one is with Marilyn. And
oh, now I'm fascinated with this photo. Now this one I am going to ask if we can put a highlight around. The vision that you see right here, this is Marilyn, and can you see on this camera this is her hair up, the platinum hair. These are the eyes, audience. And do you see this right here? This is what Shannon says she believes is a gag around Marilyn's mouth, right? And you see the dress, the shoulder here in the dress.
And the flowers that the carnations that are always there in the vase by her crypt. And
now,
she's
what's the
holding
significance
them.
of the gag? To silence her about the murder?
Yeah, because I'd always said, every time I went there to try to capture her image, I said, did you commit suicide? Was it an accidental overdose, or were you murdered? Were you silenced was the word that I used. And so with the gag appearing there, made me know that she was silenced. And then those two forms next to her had some significance, because I felt like they were some relatives, or maybe the ones that murdered her.
The white light that we
white
saw
forms,
adjacent
those
to her.
two, yeah, you can see kind of two white, the traditional looking ghosts. Most ghosts look just like forms. My pictures look like a little bit different. They usually have clothes, and they look more like a person.
Let me see the next photo of an angel, which I think is the next one that we have. And this is an angel in flight. Now we're looking at the image up here. And are these the wings at the top, Shannon?
Yes. And then it's flying over the tombstones. In other words, what I believe it's doing is helping the people that are not spiritually evolved make the transition from life to death. And that's why I assume it's kind of the caretaker of the cemetery there.
But you believe that you have a guardian angel.
Oh, yes. I feel like I have many, and I think that most people do, unless they're very negative. And then nobody wants to be around them, living or on the other side. But,
But you photographed yours.
Yeah, I photographed mine, stand in front of the mirror, and then I get me, and then I get not just one, but two or three around me.
Look at this, audience. I mean,
oh, that one, yeah.
This is an amazing photo to me. This came from a mirror?
No, that came from the
cemetery.
The cemetery in my hometown, and this was the first picture I took. And so this was either my aunt or my grandmother, and now these people were the very ones that told me as a child there's no such thing as ghosts, because they were very religious, whether it might be my grandmother as a younger person or my aunt. And so when I got that picture, it was quite surprising to me.
It occurs to me that a lot of you out there, and a lot of you watching certainly, will be skeptical about this. And we decided that we would send Shannon out with our video crew just yesterday to see if she could take a picture of an angel just for us, that we could see, that we could have some sort of control, if you could call it. So this was just right down the street from us, and you went out, obviously, in broad daylight. What are you looking for?
Oh, I'm looking to feel some particular energy around. I always get good energy. I never get bad energy. And so I know that I'm picking up good vibrations. And I'm just walking around, feeling it, where I should begin photographing.
And when we come back, we will see the photos that Shannon shot at the cemetery just yesterday. And also, one of my favorite stories, this man who experienced a miraculous healing. Doctors told him he had a fatal disease, but right before Christmas, he mystified them when they discovered, and the medical community documented, that the disease has disappeared. Stay tuned. We'll be right back and see Shannon's photos. Are you? We're talking to people today who have experienced miracles at Christmas time, and Shannon Roberts photographed a Christ-like figure that she believes that's what it was in a cemetery. So a few days before Christmas. She thinks that this was a miracle and this was a sign to her. So yesterday, we sent her to a cemetery where she often photographs angels, and our video crews we showed you followed her. She took some shots. Now, did you end up with anything, Shannon?
Yes, I was very happy to see something about 3 things. I know one is good, because I usually take them home and study them with certain lights. And this was kind of a quick thing. I had to find them. When I got home, however, I found lots of faces and etc.
Let me just show the audience what the photos are, and you decide for yourself what you think you see in these particular pictures. Okay. What's this, Shannon? This is the location?
That's the location. I'm trying to see where...
Let's go to the next shot.
Well, naturally, it's not blown up enough, so I have a hard time seeing it.
Okay, here we go.
That is probably just a ball of energy, that particular one, because I just encircled a few phenomenal pictures, but that is just a ball of energy there. And that there now is angels in flight, those 2 of them there. Now, I have 2 more like that at home that are identical in my collection that was taken at the pet cemetery, which I'm surprised to say, because this was a people cemetery. So those 2 particular people, I mean, that is what my best one I got yesterday. I mean, that you have.
Right.
The other ones are home.
Yeah, well, those are ones where we can just tell you the film, make of it what you want.
Yeah.
The film was not doctored, and we can tell you that we just blew it up so that you could see the images of light that appeared on Shannon's photographs, which happens a lot. One of the greatest miracles in life, really, as I think that Father Philip would be able to attest to, is the miracle of healing. He talked about healing from the liquid that came out of the Virgin Mary icon at his church. The people who were anointed with that were healed and cured. And my next guest had ALS. Now, you've heard of ALS. This is commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease, right? And it's a painful disease. It's a fatal disease, which attacks both the muscles and also the nerves. Well, 10 days before Christmas it was, in 1992, Don went to the top ALS specialist in the country. And a surprise doctor at that time told him that a miracle had happened. Please welcome Don Jager and his wife, Sarah. Welcome. Nice to see you both.
Thank you.
So what did happen? What did the doctor say to you?
Well, the doctor, the final doctor I went to said I had no signs whatsoever of having had ALS. And this is after I'd been to 4 of the doctors who said that I had. And so obviously we were just delighted. What happened was I went to several doctors because I had a problem with my left leg. My ankle was constantly collapsing on me. So I went to a doctor and he said, I better have some tests done, some nerve tests. They're called EMG tests. He thought I had Lou Gehrig's disease. In the meantime, I had gone to a healing mission that our Episcopal Church had called me and said, our parish priest had said, Don, I understand you've got this terrible disease. Would you like to go to a healing ministry? And I really wasn't familiar with healing ministries. I've been a Christian all my life. I tried to run a Christian business, but I'd never really been known much about healing ministries except what you see on television, things like that. And I went to that, and our friends went to it, and they laid their hands on me and prayed for me, along with Canon Jim Glennon, who's a canon in the Anglican Church from Australia, who's kind of a specialist in teaching this. And I felt some kind of warmness come over me, and they prayed for my healing. And after that, then about a couple of days later, we then had this meeting with the doctor, the professor of neurology at this university, who specializes in Lou Gehrig's disease. And when Sarah and I were sitting in the anteroom, there's these little rooms that they take you to and you kind of prepare you. We were waiting for him, and all of a sudden this total, all-encompassing warmth came over me. I can't describe it except that absolute, the most calm feeling I've ever had in my life. Just a warmth came over me and a total calmness. And I looked over at my wife, and her eyes were about this big, and I said, Sarah, did you see that? Do you feel what happened?
And did you, Sarah?
I didn't feel it, but I saw it.
I saw his face changed. He completely relaxed. His hands sort of dropped between his legs as he was sitting there. His face was flushed.
What happened was that I said to Sarah that these tests are perfunctory. I believe that I was cured during the healing service, and this is a manifestation of that healing. And I went, and this doctor came in, and I said to him, you know, I really think I'm okay. And he said, well, if you're okay, then why are you here? We're going to run some tests on you. And he ran some more tests. And his face dropped, and he turned to us, and he said, I have to tell you that I believe, and I confirm, that you have Lou Gehrig's disease. And I asked him at the time, how long did I have to live? And he said, it could be 3 months, it could be a year. We're not into the time business, but I can confirm that you have Lou Gehrig's disease. And when we left, I called my office, and I told them that what the doctor had said, and that I believed that Christ had healed me of Lou Gehrig's disease, and that the doctor was wrong, or that eventually I would be proven correct. And I called my parish priest and our friends who had prayed for us, and I said to them, he said I have Lou Gehrig's disease, but I believe that I was cured several days ago, and I'm going to accept that cure, and I'm going to pray about it, and I'm going to claim it, and I will just believe in it. And that's what I did, and I prayed, and I believed, and I prayed. And then about 2 months later, we had an appointment at the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio, which is a specialist. They are specialists for this particular disease. He ran 18 blood tests, and he turned to me and he said, you know, your friends and people in Florida will not understand this. I see 150 cases a year of Lou Gehrig's disease, and you neither have Lou Gehrig's disease or ever having shown any signs of ever having had it.
This is so astounding to me. I work with people who have neuromuscular disease, and I have never heard of anything like this. Do you have some sort of fear that it's going to come back?
No, I don't. I didn't fear when I had it, and I don't fear now. I still have weakness in my left. As a matter of fact, you know, you all asked me to bring this, and I brought this. So this is the bracelet I wore for about a month and a half to 2 months when I start to lose all the strength in my left leg. And I still don't have a whole lot of strength in my left leg, but I snow ski now and do all kinds of things because you can wear a little boot up there.
He quit wearing this after that experience in the doctor's office. He said, I will not wear it anymore. He threw it away, and I went and got it, and I hid it.
We'll have more on Christmas miracles, everybody.
Was far greater than mine. He was.
It's an awe-inspiring story. It really is. And we'll talk more right after this. Don't go away. We've been talking about Christmas miracles today, and quite frankly, some of the stories that we've heard can make even the most skeptical of us believers. Joining us right now is Michael Freze. Now, Michael is a scholar and an author on many mystical subjects, including miracles. Won't you welcome him to the show, everybody? Why do in your opinion, why do these miracles, like we've heard today, why do they occur?
Well, I think they're signs of God's presence among us. It's showing that there is somebody higher than us controlling our lives, that God is real, that he does intervene in our lives, and I think they're signs. First and foremost, the Christmas season. We're talking about the Christmas miracles. Christmas is a sign, and I think these miracles are God's signs, interventions in our midst.
How many people out here believe in miracles or think that their miracles have occurred to you? This is almost all of us.
Yes.
But still, there must be skeptics. And when you're met with people who go, I don't know, it seems pretty far-fetched to me, what do you say?
I usually say, for those that believe, no proof is necessary. For those that don't believe and are skeptical, not enough proof is going to suffice.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you another thing, too, is St. Teresa of Avila once stated that for people who believe in everything, that's simplicity. You know, everything's a miracle. But for people who don't believe in anything, that's stupidity.
Oh, interesting. You brought along with you some amazing photos about something called Stigmata that many of you may have heard of. Now, as we look at these pictures, I'd like for you to explain to me what is occurring, and is there any significance attached to time of year when this presents itself?
Okay.
Let's look at the pictures.
Teresa Newman of Connor's right, Bavaria, stigmatist. She bore the wounds of Christ in her body, hands, feet, and side, for longer than anybody in history as a female. 1926 to 1961 when she died, had the stigmata.
Now, when would bleeding would occur from these wounds? When she would pray, or when did it happen?
Usually the liturgical seasons, interestingly enough. Usually during, but the sorrowful mysteries are like a Lenten time. The Lenten season is usually when the people, when the stigmatists bleed from their wounds, Thursday and Fridays during Lent. But it has happened throughout the year, too, with many stigmatics.
Now, and the blood from her eyes as well?
Yes, it's reminiscent of Jesus, remember in the Gospel, where in the Garden of Agony he was sweating as if sweating drops of blood. There's that image, that mystical image that's associated with that, consistent with the Gospels.
And
palm wounds.
And there are wounds. If we were to see her today, we would be able to see the wounds in her hands and feet?
She was unique in all history. St. Francis of Assisi, has everybody heard of Francis?
Yes.
He bore the wounds that actually had nail-like marks embedded into the back of his hands and his palms, sharp objects. So did Teresa. She's one of the few people. Most of the stigmatics have holes that go all the way, penetrate all the way through the palms. She was an exception.
Things that occur that can only be explained by saying it's a miracle, like a lot of the stories that we've heard today. I know there are questions from out here in the audience. Let's take a quick break, and we'll get to those just as soon as we return. We'll talk some more after this. Talking about miracles today. Let's start with your question, if we would.
Hi. You got started on a topic that's very interesting to me. You said that miracles only happen, or miracles are a sign that God is within us. And that those who basically don't believe spiritually will probably never experience a miracle. Miracles can manifest themselves in a whole lot of different ways. Why does it have to just be something spiritual?
Okay, I didn't say that miracles are God's manifestation within us. I'm saying it's his intervention in the human arena. It can be within us or, without us. But why? Because I think that's what a miracle is. A miracle means something beyond the norm, beyond... I think that there are extraordinary things that happen, okay, in the world, but it's not necessarily a miracle. Miracle's from God.
But if you don't believe, will a miracle, are you not likely to ever have a miracle occur?
Oh, no. How do we get a lot of converts? How do we get a lot of atheists who convert? A lot of miracles happen to believers and non-believers alike.
Okay, yes.
Yes, this question is addressed to Don. I'd like to know how, or if the doctors are doing any research with your genes on Lou Gehrig's disease.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Have they not called you and said, what is it about you that you've been able to stop this disease? Not reverse it, but stop it? This has never occurred before.
They haven't. I think they know what happened to me, but they have not called me on this, no.
Really?
Yeah. They probably have not been informed. You see, I have not let public the name of these doctors because there are a lot of people who don't believe in miracles, and I don't want people to know the names of these doctors because they are very fine physicians.
I see. What's your question?
And my question is to him. In that you study miracles, has any miracles happened in your life?
Yes, a couple of them. Real briefly, everybody heard of Medjugorje, Yugoslavia? The Blessed Virgin Mary has been reportedly appearing there since 1981. Anyway, there's a solar phenomenon that occurs there. The sun spins, changes colors, pulsates. I was in Medjugorje as an offshoot of one of my trips to Europe, and I saw that happen. I was in there with 100 different people. We stared at the sun for 10 minutes. You can't do that without damaging your retina normally. It happened. I was there. It happened to all of us. It happened to me again in Montana when one of the visionaries from Medjugorje came to give a retreat in Montana for one weekend. Everybody experienced it. And I see a few people that are shaking their heads no. Well, thousands have seen it. 15 million people have been in Medjugorje. 70 to 100,000 people saw the sun spin at Fatima. Are they all off base? Is it all mass hypnotic suggestion? I don't think so. I think there's something going on here.
Or do you all share the same miracle? We'll be right back after this. We've been talking about miracles today, and Father, you had a final thought about what you think it really means to have a miracle in your life.
A miracle in your life means change for the good, and it's when it comes from within, as Dawn experienced. The icon was a miraculous sign. The sun in the sky was a miraculous sign so that we can change introspectively. But what Dawn experiences, what it was all about, a true miracle from inside out by God.
You know what I think is, it's all about hope, really, when you get down to it. And I think that my guests today personify the essence and the hope of Christmas, the hope that miracles, big and small, will come into our lives and in the process make us better. So believe in miracles. They'll happen. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.